Okay, hello, welcome everyone to our 90-day challenge call. So this is week 10 of the 90-day challenge. So it's been great seeing lots of people are doing some pretty amazing things. So to get started, before I hand over to our very special guest that we have on the call today, I'm just going to go through our recognition for what has been happening. So we have two new directors, Christina Allen and Maria White. So fantastic work on them on enrolling two people. So let's give them all a big round of applause. Yay, way to go. Okay. Then we have two new Director 300s, Larissa Porter and Thomas Pashalidis. I'm pretty sure I've probably said that name wrong, so my apologies, Thomas, but let's give them a big round of applause. Yay! Yay. Okay, and we have three new Director 700s, Lois Fernandez, Sharon Mason, and Peter Westra. And Peter is all the way from Poland. So let's give him a big round of applause. Yay! And we even have a new bronze this week, Athena Jordan. Let's give Athena a big round of applause. She made it to bronze. So exciting. That's the whole purpose of this challenge, right, is to go to bronze in the 90 days. All right, so we have top enrollers for August. So we had a lot of people sharing 5th place this week. I'm not sure, we've never had that many before, but lots and lots of people were sharing 5th place for the top enrollers of week 9. So well done to all of you. In 2nd place, we had Julie McDonald and Sasha Demidov, who are often featuring Peter Westra and Miriam Brewer. And getting the number 1 enroller of the week is Judith Gorgian. And amazing work, Judith. She just completed a double fast forward. I know that as well. So she has won a prize as part of our 90-day challenge. So Judith will be in touch with you to get you that prize. So big congratulations to Judith. Way to go, Judith. Fantastic.
Woohoo!
And we also want to recognize our top contactors for the week. So, you know, that have been in action, doing the work, and we're measuring this through Jeannie, of course. So we had a few people, again, tying for 4th place in this one. Number 3, Joanne Furman. Number 2, Barbara Cullinan. And again, number 1 contactor for week 9 of the challenge was Colette Garside from the UK. So well done to Colette. Woo! She's got that spot a few times. Way to go, Colette. She's really getting out there. Okay, so Colette has also won a prize as part of our 90-day challenge. So we'll be in touch with Colette to get that. I also wanted to recognise Reach for the Beach, our people who've qualified for Reach for the Beach. So this is for Australian and New Zealand associates only. So I'm sorry if you're from other markets on the call, but this promotion's only for Australian and New Zealand associates. So we still, nobody in ASEA has qualified for the grand prize yet, although I'm sure Richard's getting pretty close. So first prize, Richard Ayob. So he's got the room for 2, travel reimbursement, ASEA gear and products, absolutely fantastic. Second prize, still no qualifiers for that one. And third prize, Julie McDonald and Sasha Demidov, and they've got the room for 2 and $500 US travel reimbursement. So super well done to you guys. We are looking.
We got second prize.
Oh, you got second prize now. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought I might have got to re-update this particular slide. Way to go. You've upgraded from 3rd to 2nd since last week. Fantastic. I love it. Way to go, Julie and Sasha. So really want to recognize them for their efforts, and you know, they're going to get a wonderful free trip to a beautiful resort in the Pacific. So it's going to be amazing, and we're going to be going as well, myself and Justin and Baby Joy. So you can still qualify for this trip. This is what the leaderboard is looking at right now. Oh, I think Richard may have also qualified for the grand prize. I think I'm going to miss that too. I think he's got enough volume there. So lots of people are getting super close to qualifying. So if you need some help qualifying for this amazing trip, you know, reach out to your upline, reach out to your upline diamond, get some support from them around what you need to do to qualify for this trip. Because if your name is on this list, you should be on this trip, because you actually, if you're on this page, this first page, you don't have too much more work to be there. But of course, there's still time for everyone to qualify. The incentive doesn't end until the end of September. And so there's lots of people in our team that are in the running to qualify for this amazing, amazing trip. So just a reminder what you need to do to qualify for third prize, which is your room and 500 US travel reimbursement, which will get you a flight to Vanuatu. I think Julie and Sasha just booked theirs and it was $980 Australian for 2 flights because the room is for 2 people. You need to enroll 15 people and you need to have a total of 5,000 volume from those 15 new enrollees over the qualification period from the 1st of June to the 30th of September. This includes their enrollment volume and their auto ship volume. And you can see to qualify for even better prizes, you just need more enrollments and more volume. So really fantastic. Hope to see many more of you there on the trip. All of the content, just to remind you all, for the 90-day challenge is in the training center in the ASEA Business Coach. This call will be put into there tomorrow after we get the recording, and it will be posted in our team Facebook group before it even gets into here, but it will be put into Genie tomorrow. So they organize that for us every week. Okay, so that's where you can find it, Training Courses Library. So I'm going to now hand over to a very amazing person, the amazing Trish Schwenkler. So for those of you who don't know about Trish, Trish has been in network marketing for a long time now, for more than 25 years, I believe. And she has been a top income earner in her former company. And now she's actually the #1 income earner in all of ASEA. And Trish is, together with her husband, Bob, is ASEA's only presidential triple diamond. And she's an amazing lady. She really comes from her heart and wants to help people. And she is going to share a little bit with us today about what you can do on a daily basis to set yourself up for success. So thank you so much, Trish, for taking the time to be here with us. I know you are extremely busy, so I'm going to hand over to you.
Okay. Hey, great to see you, Nicole. Great to see all you Aussies. And, you know, maybe there's people from other countries as well. So I'm in the mountains of Idaho. This is our lake house here. And here, oh, you can start to see the sunset in the windows there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've actually been working hard this weekend wake surfing on our boat. It's been super intense and fun. But anyway, happy to be with you all tonight. And congratulations to Justin and Nicole for being super duper ambassador diamonds with ASEA, super duper leaders. We really respect them and love them. So it's great to be with their team tonight. And I want to congratulate all the new directors, Director 300s, Director 700s, bronzes. Congratulations, Paula and Barry, for your new bronze a few weeks ago. And, you know, none of us would be where we are if it wasn't for folks like you that are out there sharing ASEA every single day. So you guys are the ones that really make it happen. And so just thank you all for your dedication to ASEA, for being part of this team and part of our great company. So I guess I'll just start talking. And then if Nicole wants me to go in a different direction or have different questions, or, you know, however you want to run it, Nicole. But yeah, so like Nicole said, I joined my first network marketing company in 1993. And at the time I was a stay-at-home mom. I have a high school education. I didn't have any business experience. I didn't have any medical background or anything like that. But I was in love with health, and I had some people in my family, including myself, who had, you know, experienced significant health challenges. And I learned that the best health products in the world come through network marketing because of the laws that prohibit any natural product from being able to, you know, claim that they heal, cure, mitigate any disease or medical condition. So it's only by word of mouth that really we can let the world know about amazing health products like ASEA. So part of my journey, I mean, I came to network marketing not knowing anything, nothing about network marketing, nothing about business. And, but I'm the kind of person who I can learn fast. And I guess if I have any special talent or gift, it's being able to put things that I learn into action and being consistent with them. So I read a book called The Business School for People Who Like Helping Other People by Robert Kiyosaki. And most of you have heard of Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I love that book because the reason that I got into network marketing was to help other people. At that time, my goal was to make a little bit of extra money. My children were going into grade school. My husband had a good job at that time, but hey, I wanted to make my own money. But most of all, I wanted to make a difference for others. I know what it's like to have a health challenge and not be able to find an answer. And my goal was to tell people about amazing health products. I knew that some people would listen and that some people would not listen, but there's a saying that some of you have probably heard, SW, SW, SW. Some will, some won't. So what? So wow. Somewhere, someone's waiting. And that was me. I was waiting. I was waiting for a health answer. And later on, it turned into be an economic answer when my husband was downsized from his job, and network marketing ultimately became our full-time income. But it wasn't fast. My first year, I spent more money than I made. I barely got to what we call the bronze level in ASEA, a similar level in my former company. But I started learning things. So, you know, it takes 4 years to get a college degree, and people get into network marketing, and if they're not rich after 6 months or a year, you know, they say this doesn't work, right? Or at least some people do. But my parents, they weren't wealthy, but they were business people. They had their own businesses, and I understood that most businesses take 5 years to cash flow. And so, okay, so back to Robert Kiyosaki's book. So Robert Kiyosaki, in his book, The Business School for People Who Like Helping Other People, he said that to be successful in any business, you have to transform yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. My sponsor, who was the #1 income earner in the world in my previous company, not because he sponsored me, but because 4 people in between us quit, and I actually passed the person who sponsored me, which you're not able to do in ASEA, but in that company you could. So he became the #1, or he became my sponsor. And the first advice he gave me at the first meeting, he said, leaders are readers. And this is the smart thing about Dave. He didn't give me a book. He brought a few books to the meeting, and he said, these books are $10 each. Who wants one? And that way he could make sure that the motivated people purchased the books, right? And so I began a journey of transforming myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing you do, transform yourself mentally. You start reading books about network marketing. Now, at the time, I didn't have a big budget. I didn't have a lot of money. So I went to the library. Almost everyone, unless you live in a third world country, which Australia certainly is not, and Poland is not, and the UK is not, which is where I know a lot of Nicole and Justin's team is. Everyone has access to a library, right? So you can go and you can check out books. I read, I can't even remember the name of the author or the name of the book, but I read about a woman who became big in network marketing, and she spent like an hour a day visualizing success. And so, okay, so let's go back to physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So another great way to transform yourself mentally is doing what you're doing right now, which is to tap into conference calls. You know, these days we have Facebook. Back then we didn't have that. Going to conventions, if you possibly can come to Dallas. I know a lot of you are. And of course, you're going to have your own Australian conference at the Gold Coast, right, Nicole, in February. But so this didn't happen all at once, but over the years, I started a real routine. There's a book called Miracle Mornings, and it talks about the power of setting up your day really to create miracles. So the first few years I was in network marketing, my business started to grow. all over the United States, and then it spread to Europe and it spread to the Philippines. And I was waking up in the morning at 5 a.m., which is when I typically wake up. I'm an early to bed, early to rise person, which makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise, according to Benjamin Franklin. And after a few years, I realized that I can no longer continue that way. So I started my yoga practice. And so for the past approximately 22 years, I've done yoga every single day. I rarely miss. I might miss maybe 5 a year, but I even doubt if I do that. So when you do yoga, not everyone's into yoga, but I love yoga because you have to, I'm a person who's always in a hurry, tends to always be in a hurry. It slows me down, and it just seems to balance me physically, mentally, and emotionally. Plus, it's a great physical discipline because I think sometimes it's easier to run or walk or cycle. In yoga, you have to hold certain poses for an extended period of time to get the benefit, and just the discipline of slowing down and breathing. So the point is, whatever you choose to do, I know Danny Robinson runs in the morning. That's great. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So my advice to you would be, since we're in a wellness company, be a great example of wellness, or as great as you can be, right? Justin and Nicole are great examples of wellness. They eat right, they exercise, they take their little baby Joy on walks. I've seen that on Facebook. So find a way that you can begin transforming yourself physically. So Jim Rohn says that success is a few simple disciplines practiced every single day, right? So it doesn't have to be anything huge, but it has to be something sustainable that you can do on a daily basis. And I've probably attended maybe 15 yoga classes in my life, but what I do is I go to yoga, I take a pen and paper with me, I take 1 or 2 or 3 of the poses that they teach, and I started just putting like a few poses into practice on a daily basis. And just recently I went to a Kundalini yoga retreat with my daughter, and I learned a few more amazing poses that I added to my repertoire. So now I have like 45 minutes of yoga that I do every day. And I've been surfing all day. I'm a little bit, I might be wandering around a little too much, but so here's the thing. People hear not what you say, but who you are, right? They do hear your words, but more than that, it's not only the energy, but the persona emanating from you. So people in the snap of a couple of fingers will size you up when they see you, or when you approach them, or when they talk to you, and they'll instantly make a decision whether you're someone that they'd like to listen to, or that there's someone that they're going to be polite to, but they're not really going to take anything that you say seriously. And so a lot of it has to do with this physical well-being, right? This aura of wellness that we can give off to people. And, my sponsor in my first company, he was a great sponsor for me. Alan Noble's my sponsor now. He's a great sponsor too. But my first sponsor, Dave, he told me to be successful in network marketing, you have to develop a magnetic personality. And I'm a person who, before network marketing, I would have never thought of myself as being a person with a magnetic personality. I was one of 8 children. I went to a parochial school. My parents didn't have a lot of money, and most of the other kids' parents did have a lot of money. My teeth were crooked. I was very self-conscious about my teeth, so I never smiled. You can see I smile a lot now because I have very beautiful, very expensive teeth, right? But so here's the thing about Dave. Dave was a humble person, and I don't think he would mind me saying this. He was a homely person. If you met Dave, he had kind of pockmarks on his face from having acne when he was younger. And if you met Dave, you would not say that he was a handsome man. But through the years, by transforming himself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, Dave became a very, very magnetic person. He would get on stage, and I was always entranced by what he said. Not so much the words, but more the spirit and the persona emanating from him. So let's just talk a little bit about spiritual. So I'm not a spiritual expert, okay? And here's the funny thing is, I don't know what it is, but no matter who I'm with, people of different religions or different spiritualities, most of the time people think I'm one of them. It's the most amazing thing. But I don't really know what that has to do with anything, except for, here's what Jim Rohn says. If any of you have listened to Jim Rohn, he says, whatever spirituality you believe in, practice it every single day. And so the reason that I feel that I got into network marketing really was more of a spiritual reason. I mean, Nicole's familiar with my affirmation. I accept that a benevolent power is working through me and in me to manifest goodness and abundance in my life and in the lives of others. And, you know, we all need money, and we all have to make a living, and we all have to take care of ourselves and for our families. But I believe that if you put the spiritual part of your journey in network marketing first, that everything else will fall into place. And I started saying this affirmation probably 24 years ago. And back in those days, I had to travel more than I did now because, for example, we couldn't be on a Zoom like this back in those days because we didn't have Zoom, right? If I was going to talk to somebody, I had to travel. And so when I'd be in airports, walking through airports, I would say over and over and over again, I accept that a benevolent power is working through me and in me to manifest goodness and abundance in my life and in the lives of others. And I would get on the plane and I would say that over and over, and people would drive me around in their cars and I would say that over and over. And I would go to the restroom before the meeting and I would say that over and over and over. And I mean, it may sound kind of corny, but then again, it may not sound kind of corny. But like Nicole just introduced me as the #1 earner in ASEA, as well as the only person to achieve the presidential triple diamond level. And, you know, I always feel like, yes, it's me who did all of this, but in a way it wasn't me. It was because I allowed a power to work through me. And I would just ask when I went to a meeting, you know, that the right hearts would be touched and that I would be given the words to say. And I think I've become I think I was given kind of a talent for speaking in public, but I would have never, ever thought that until I was a gold in my first company. I was invited to speak at an expo, and I had a bunch of notes, and I started speaking, and the first 10 or 15 minutes, I was going by my notes and probably boring people. But all of a sudden, it was like another entity almost kind of came into my mind and my heart, and the words just started flowing, and I just started speaking, and I got a standing ovation. And ever since then, you know, and I came to Australia last year. That wasn't so great because I was pretty sick doing my 8-week around the world tour. Anyway, I don't exactly know where I'm going with this, except for that what I've experienced in my life is that I ask for, and I do my best to allow a higher power, whatever you want to call it, a divine spirit to flow through me. And so it's not really me who's accomplished all these things. It's, it's the spirit that's touched people to help them see the truth of what we have to offer. First in my former company and now in ASEA. And, people are always, I feel like they're always looking for the magic words. Like, what do you say to people? What tool do you give people? What do you do when you follow up? And there are some very foundational core competencies that we teach with the A-Lift process. You have to have a great attitude. You have to make a list. You have to invite and use a tool. You have to follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up, and then you teach your team to do the same. So there are core competencies, but on the other hand, two things. You're never going to find the magic words where 100% of the people, like you're going to close every single person that you meet, or every single person at the in-home is going to sign up and join buy a pack. Unless you're Nicole, that might happen. It's always a numbers game. And I think one of the reasons I've been able to be really consistent in network marketing is because, people say don't take it personally when people say no. Usually people don't say no. They just kind of drift away. They just stop answering your calls. They just never get back to you. Usually people don't say no. They just kind of, fall out of contact with you. But I always knew that the people who were supposed to hear the message would hear the message. So I went to a parochial school, right? For the first through sixth grade. So I don't want to flip anybody out. Some people like things like this, some people don't. But in the Bible, it says, let them who have ears to hear, right? And some people have ears to hear, and a lot of people don't have ears to hear because they just have a different consciousness. They just have a different vibration. Maybe that they're not ready to be healthy. Maybe there's a part of them on a subconscious level that needs to be sick. Maybe they're not ready to accept abundance. Maybe on a subconscious level, there's a part of their personality that needs to have the struggle of having a lack of abundance. So one of the important things in network marketing is to somehow find a way. This to me is the whole key, to find a way to not get frustrated, not get disappointed, not get depressed, so that every single day you can continue sharing ASEA with new people, following up with old people. And so for me, that's my philosophy and it's been from day one that the people who have ears to hear will hear, and the people who don't. So I don't spend a lot of time learning how to answer objections. I just put the message out there. Okay, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I'll tell you this, that I really have never said on a webinar before, but I found ASEA about 8.5 years ago. And a few weeks before I found ASEA, I went to a program. It's called Art of Living. And you can look it up. It's artofliving.org. And some people might not be into that kind of thing, and some people might. It's actually run by a guru from India, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. But so I didn't, I had my affirmations, and I would call that a spiritual practice, but I didn't really know. Well, after kind of giving up on religion after parochial school and a bunch of things that happened to me when I grew up, I didn't really have a spiritual practice. But through Art of Living, I really learned how to do a really definite spiritual practice every day. And when you go to Art of Living, they challenge you to do it. I think it's 40 days or maybe it's 90 days every single day. And it's actually things that you physically do with your body as well as that you do with your breath. And then they also teach you a type of meditation that's called, I can't think of it right now. but again, so I had the discipline of doing my yoga, and I was like, wow, now I'm going to have to add this discipline of, doing this practice that was taught there. So I've done that again every single day since I started ASEA. And again, I may have missed maybe 10 times in the past 8.5 years. And again, when people introduce me as the top earner or the only triple presidential, I'm like, you know what? I did the work, but it really wasn't me. It was that I found this spiritual practice. So whatever yours is great, but I found this spiritual practice that appealed to me, that helped me get more centered. And I believe that that's one of the reasons that I've been able to move forward, not effortlessly, because Nicole can tell you, I'm pretty disciplined, and I'm very focused, and I'm a hard worker. But so it hasn't been effortless, but at the same time, there's a book I love by Stuart Wilde, Wilde. It's called Life Was Never Meant to Be a Struggle. And in this book, Stuart Wilde says that effort is part of life, right? If you're a wild animal, in fact, I just saw an eagle flying by my lake here, and it had a mouse in its claws. It was flying, it got its dinner, right? So every living, well, not plants, but every animal and every human has to exert effort in order to live, right? The eagle has to go catch his mouse for his dinner, right? We have to, most of us, unless you're a Kennedy or a Trump or somebody, we have to put forth effort to make a living, to feed ourselves, to feed our children. But Stuart Wilde says the problem is when effort is laced with negative emotion, that's when when effort becomes struggle. And struggle puts off a negative vibration. So by doing, these physical exercises, these mental exercises, these emotional, spiritual exercises, because any spiritual exercise, if it's a real spiritual exercise, I think it's going to get your emotions lined up as well. So anything you can do like that just helps you kind of row through the waters without feeling like you're rowing against the stream. It's like you're rowing with the stream, right? And anything you do, if you can do it at the same time every day or close to the same time, what happens is your body becomes addicted to it. And you're like, after 90 days of doing what I learned at Art of Living, it's like, if I don't do it, I have to do it before I go to bed because I just don't feel right. And if I get up and I start doing things without doing my yoga, I just don't feel right. And any of you have an exercise routine or anything, you know that that's true. So it's super important to set the time of day that you're going to do these things. And for me, it's just like nothing else comes first. Right now I'm an empty nester, but when I started network marketing, my kids were in grade school. I would just have to get up earlier, right? So that I could do the things that I felt like I needed and wanted to do. Okay, so there's that physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Set up your day in the morning. Read Miracle Morning. That'll help you understand how important. People are like, well, I don't have time. I have too many calls to make. I have to get to work. I have to take care of the kids, whatever. Nothing is going to transform your life more than creating a daily discipline, really a daily practice. They call it sadhana, right? So that's one thing. But here's what Jim Rohn says. He says he says affirmation without discipline is delusion, right? So you set your day up, but then you have to go to work, right? You have to put in that effort. So how many people here have ever had a job? Probably everybody has had a job, right? In order to get paid for your job, what do you have to do? You have to go to work every day and you have to do the things that you're supposed to do that they're going to pay you for. And even if it's a part-time job, you got to show up for whatever hours you're supposed to be there, do the things you're supposed to do. And guess what? If you don't show up, what's going to happen? You're going to probably get fired. Or if you show up, but you don't do the things you're supposed to do, what's going to happen? You're probably going to get fired, right? So people get in network marketing, and you're never going to get fired from network marketing. But guess what? Most people don't show up for work, right? Or they think they're showing up for work, but they don't do the things that they need to do to do the real work, to make the work really happen, right? And then they're in network marketing, and they're going to all the, they're getting on the webinars, they're getting on the Zooms, they're coming to the meetings, they're going to the convention, they're prospecting people here and there, they're following up here and there, and then they're like wondering, why am I not moving forward? Why? How come these other people are silvers and golds and platinums and diamonds and I'm not, right? And in my mind, there's two reasons for that, right? Either you haven't done the personal growth work, the physical, mental, spiritual transformation. The beautiful thing about network marketing is it's not only a transactional business, but it's a transformational business, right? So either you haven't done the transformational work by doing your miracle morning activities, whatever they may be. Maybe they're not yoga, maybe they're not art of living Sudarshan Kriya exercises, right? But whatever it is that attracts you, that you believe in, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, every day. Maybe it's 10 minutes. It's got to be sustainable. Something you can do every day, every day, every day. For what? For the rest of your life. Why? Because we wake up every morning and we brush our teeth every morning for the rest of our life, right? This is our lifestyle. This is what we do. This is how we set up our life, right? So what work do we need to do besides our transformation work? We need to do our effort work, right? Our work. What is our work? Our work is introducing new people to ASEA every single day. Or if you're part-time, 3 days a week or 4 days a week, right? So somebody once told me that the way you spell week is not W-E-E-K, it's W-E-A-K. By the week, it's week, okay? Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every single day. So most people here brush their teeth every morning and every night. I brush mine about 5 times a day every time I eat something, but that's beside the point. The point is, what if you said, you know what, I'm just going to brush my teeth 7 times at the end of the week, right? How would that work? Not very well, would it, Paula and Barry and Amy? It wouldn't work very well, right? By the week, it's week, right? So one of the first meetings that I went to, I was not yet at the bronze level, the equivalent of the bronze level. And I saw an old farmer standing on stage who had reached the level that I wanted to be at. And I thought I was doing everything I could to get to that level. And this old farmer stood on stage and he just said, I made a point to introduce one new person every single day to our products and to our company. And that clicked in my mind. And at that time I was listening to Jim Rohn tapes, a few simple disciplines practiced every single day. I said, that's what I'm going to do. And again, if I have any gift, it's to be able to decide on a discipline, put it into execution, and follow through day after day after day after day. And when I made a decision to do that, I never broke my promise to myself until I went diamond, which was 4 years later. It took me 4 years to go diamond in my first company. Now, if I spoke to 3 prospects for one of my associates, then I let myself off the hook. So this isn't 3 of their associates, this is 3 of their prospects, right? So if I did a meeting in someone's living room and they had at least 3 guests there, and I did a presentation for them, then I was off the hook. I didn't have to do my own prospecting, right? But if not, I could not go to bed at night. I have my day timer. See, I learned early on, don't use slippery slips of paper. Write everything in your day timer. I still do that today, although I use my computer a lot too. I had a little box on the one page, every page of my day timer that I could not go to bed until I checked off that box, right? That I had spoken to at least one new person about my products and my company and my opportunity every single day, right? So how do you find people? Well, you can find people if there's bumper stickers on someone's car. You can call them up. Now, if you have a lot of credibility, like Barry and Paula, or like Justin and Nicole, when they started ASEA, Justin had worked in the healthcare profession. Nicole was a professional person. Paula and Barry are healthcare professionals. You don't need to do what I did, right? You may have a long list of contacts that you can contact. So I'm not saying that everybody needs to do this, but the point that I'm making is if you have that, great. If you don't, if you're like me, you have no credibility, very little contacts, then maybe you need to call bumper stickers. Maybe you need to do the 3-foot rule. Maybe you need to put 10 pennies in your pocket and go out and smile at 10 people, make 10 friends every day, and make sure at least one of them you tell about your product and your opportunity, right? The bottom line is there's no excuses. Whoever you are, whatever your background is, if you make yourself attractive by having a magnetic personality, by doing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual disciplines every single day, people will be attracted to you. Let the Spirit flow through you. Ask the Spirit to give you the right words to touch the right people's hearts, knowing that not everybody is going to join you. Not everybody is going to hear you. Not everybody is going to get it. But you know what? If you put yourself in the front of enough people on a consistent enough basis, you are going to find people just like you that hear the message of ASEA, that want to help people, that want to transform people's lives, that want to transform their own lives, whatever it may be. To me, income has always been secondary. But hey, I like a lot. I have my cabin here. It's, not the fanciest cabin in the world, but you know what? I paid for it with cash, And so just by the way, after our first company, that company encouraged us. In fact, they made us, because of their rewards program, you would only get your rewards money if you had a mortgage on a home that you probably couldn't afford, or if you bought a car that was probably more than you could afford, then they would make the payments for that. And also I was reading Robert Kiyosaki books about leveraging other people's money. And we got into debt, right? We bought a house that our other company, they were paying the mortgage for. We bought a car that they were paying for. We bought other things. We leveraged ourselves. We got into debt. And we learned the hard way that the smartest thing to do, take your extra money, pay off your mortgage. Don't leverage other people's money. Anybody who has a mortgage, by the time your mortgage is over, you're going to be paying the bank at least twice as much what the house is worth, right? So when we got into ASEA, we didn't spend a cent on anything until all of our debts were paid. And that was many years. I mean, we did not spend one penny on a vacation, a towel, shoes, clothing. We didn't spend one penny until we paid off every debt that we had. And I encourage people not to learn the hard way, but let's say you have an ASEA check. Let's say that it's not super big. Let's say, maybe it's $25, $100, whatever it is. Use it to pay down your credit card bills. Use it to pay down your mortgage. Because that's another thing, is that I believe that the universe rewards people who use their money wisely and who are disciplined with their finances, right? So that's another reason when people introduce me, I'm like, yeah, I did the work, but it wasn't really me. I feel like the universe rewarded us for learning how to be, I'm not saying we're the best money managers in the world, but we're pretty disciplined in our spending that, just to become, work really hard to be debt free and to make a decision to stay debt free. So I've been talking for a long time, and I hope some of it was useful to somebody, somewhere, somehow, kind of a stream of consciousness, a little bit, I feel like I'm not thinking exactly super focused tonight. But anyhow, there you have it, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Trish. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I know you're up away in your cabin having summer fun in the US.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh, and by the way, oh no, I can't say this yet. So next year's convention, I'm not allowed to say where it is. I'm probably not allowed to say when it is, but the week before that, we're going to have a diamond retreat right here in Idaho. It's going to be easy to fly from where the convention is going to be to Idaho. It's going to be a cheap, easy flight. So anyone who's diamond can come a week or so early. We're going to have whitewater rafting. We are going to go on there's a big boat that goes all around the lake. I forget what you call it. We're going to do line dancing. We're going to have somebody come do country western music and teach us line dancing. And we're going to have a ton of fun. So anyway, set your sights for next year.
Fantastic. Yes, we'll have a few more diamonds in the team next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today, Trish. Lots of comments there thanking you and saying you were very inspiring in the chat box. So I don't think anyone has any questions or anything. So yeah, it was great to see you. We often don't get people from the States on our calls because they're usually in the evening, but this 90-day challenge call is in the middle of a Monday. So we've had a few guests, which has been great.
That's super. Super great.
They're normally sleeping in our evenings.
Yeah. So I see Jen Cooper and Kay Cramond, Karen Norfolk, Lena. Great to see you, Lena. Mez Anderson, Jane, David Penrose. Hello. Rita Yao. I don't know if I said that correctly. Margot, Justin and Nicole, of course. Jane at Zier.com. Paula and Barry, of course. Julie. Great to see you all. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Marion Turner, Julie. Thanks for your great comments, you guys. I really appreciate it. Bob Fordham. Thanks for taking time to join, you guys. Appreciate all of you. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Trish. Bye-bye.
Thanks for your great leadership, Nicole. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Trish. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.